Hey guys, Andrew, welcome back to the channel. So guys, just a warning, there's going to be a high level of snark in this video. So guys, I'm on a Facebook page for disability in my local area. This comment, and look, my response wasn't really well thought out. And why do services still continue to wear shirts with business name blazoned all over it? I've just been to Clifford Gardens with my grandson, who, yes, has a disability. I've seen 5 different support companies with participants in uniform, something I will never get used to or allow. Rant over. So she's grandma. Grandma, we don't know anything else. And so I said, because if they have a complex needs client that has a hidden disability and they can't be left, it makes it easier to identify the support worker or caregiver. I get the choice and control, but that's why it's also a professionalism thing as well. And then the comments came. So I'll read you some of them. And guys, we need to remember here, having a disability and a diagnosis does not equal automatic access. And guys, having a support worker, caregiver is a privilege and not a right. So guys, this is a real issue when when we're facing massive issues to cutbacks, capping, unapproved restrictive practices, and these people think it's important enough to argue over uniforms? Just ask your provider not to. So then people are saying so many people have hidden disabilities or medical issues. I don't think it's a choice and control thing at all. I think services make the decision to continue to label people going to do grocery shopping as an everyday thing for all of us. What if the participant has complex needs? The worker would and should, if they're doing their job, be close by. No need to identify them. Okay, what if that client's a runner? What if that client's having a sensory meltdown? Things that people are not considering. What if that client has extreme behaviours of concern, no road sense? It should be the client's choice, not provider or the support worker's choice. Someone said, having worked with significantly complex disabilities and hidden disabilities, none of the care plans for community outings or behavioural supports have ever relied on me as the carer being easily identified to anyone in uniform. My training and suggestions of allied health responses are what made those community trips a success. Uniforms are honestly a lazy way to ensure staff are dressed appropriately. A successful and highly engaged management team with the right structure should always be on top of staff dressing appropriately. See plenty of uniformed staff that also don't look appropriate. I have clients now who have chosen to go with services the management team deem that they have to wear uniforms. That to me is horrifying. And then some other people have had more positive ones as well. So someone I know in reality has said, I always give compliments to my blue care nurses who wear uniforms. They look so much tidier. What I'm talking about is support workers. Most companies require staff to wear uniform. Sandra, in support work, aged care is more common than within the disability sectors. Support workers were modelled on community blue care nursing, guys. Community nursing were the original support workers. Just think about that one for a minute. Community nursing are the original support workers. They had to have, at minimum, an AIN qualification. Certificate 3 in disability support has only been around for the last 10 years. Just think about that one. And someone said, have you seen the disgusting way some support workers dress? Uniforms look great. The only person who should have it on the subject is the participant. You need to stop thinking about what you want and let the participant think they want, not what you think they want. I appreciate the feedback. However, the way a support worker dresses does come back to the company, and it's not what I want. Everyday people should fight for equality. Participants should always have that choice given to them, but it's not always the case. Someone saying that's an assumption on your part, and this is the original poster getting defensive. Not at all. Not an assumption at all. I have run a service for 24 years, way before new NDIS services were available, speaking to families, participants, as well as staff, surveys completed completely regularly to see what people want. And someone has said, my husband and I personally prefer support workers to wear a uniform because this is mainly because my husband is a participant and I always get mistaken for a second support worker. Having a uniform just makes me feel like less of a second worker and more of his wife. That's just a personal preference. It also makes it easier for both hubby and I to find them when in public. It appears more professional when seeking information on behalf of a client, and people are more recognizably easy by the public. And then people are saying about this one of one day in the heat of summer, I saw a carer wearing a hat and standing under a tree using his phone. His client, a fellow human, was standing on the concrete path which was radiating heat onto his face. He had no hat and was unable to speak. I did a U-turn in my car, wound down the window, and to my disappointment, he had no ID, no name tag, so I could not report him. He claimed he was talking to the boss. It was a lengthy animated conversation, so I doubted his word. So he should have ensured his client was standing on the grass in the shade and had a hat. I have a severely disabled grandson here in Toowoomba, and I'm pleased that poor service providers can be called out because they wear an ID. And this is one I want to emphasise. Depending on the age and the size of the client and his disability, you may have jumped at the gun with yelling out of your window at the support worker. Some clients will stop walking and stand very still in one spot, sit down on the pavement, no matter how much encouragement you give them to move or to get to a more safe place. The support worker could very well have been on the phone to the boss to get his guidance and strategies on getting the client focused on moving on. The client may also not be able to wear a hat due to sensory issues. It's very common within the spectrum that people cannot tolerate that hats are anything around their head or face. In yelling out of your car window, you could have been a trigger for this client and could have ended up with a flight response from the client. What you see is just a snippet, so do not judge until you can be 100% sure of the circumstances. And then people have said about free advertising. And then someone said, I love it. They've basically continued the debate for and against, and it's free advertising and stuff like that. And someone said, great discussion. Time for some actual debate over the core concepts that matter to people with a disability rather than be driven at the forefront by business ethos. This is not just about a fee for service environments. It's about human rights every step of the way. People are saying, and this is a comment I like, absolutely agreeing that uniforms are not the best practice. Support is all about inclusion, not about making sure everyone knows the participant has a disability. Some companies just like the free advertising without regard for the privacy and dignity of their participant. Someone says, she's finally been forced to admit, I will be totally upfront. I've been the director of service for 24 years and not once have I allowed this to occur. Never. Not in cars, nothing. My office does not have a sign at the front and never has. Well, how are they going to know that that's your office? And someone said, what's wrong with knowing someone has a support worker? And then someone said, and I love this comment, and the comments are still ongoing as well. I was spoken to my organisation about a support worker wearing a uniform. One support worker I know likes her shirt and she is fine. I'm happy for her to wear a shirt. One support worker who's my main always looks nice in her regular clothing. No problem, she can wear regular clothes. Maybe the participant doesn't mind. Maybe this is her choice. We cannot assume participants aren't using their choice and control. Support worker who helps me with my garden and keeps it beautiful might as well wear her work shirt to save clothing. She knows it's going to get filthy. And so people are saying that it's othering them and dehumanizing. Dehumanizing is what's happening in the Gaza Strip at the moment. It's not about clients wearing a uniform. Having support is a privilege, not a right. Dehumanization, the very definition of dehumanization, is othering other people to making them, their fellow man, believe that they are subhuman and less deserving of support, respect, and kindness. The very foundation of the NDIS is about giving us the support to live a more normal life. People, able-bodied people, often get jealous of people who are having a support worker because they don't understand the lives of people with a disability and that you don't look disabled. Well, if having a uniform levels the playing field, my own community access organisation wears a uniform. Hey, great. And they've also got holism. They don't use person-centered care as a buzzword and then set you up for failure within your family and conflict of, oh, you're an adult, it's your choice and your control, without understanding family dynamics. No, they support the whole family and understand family dynamics. So, guys, this is not dehumanization, it's choice and control. You can ask that organization for that support worker not to wear a uniform. And, guys, this ain't dehumanization. I have colleagues and friends who were in China when COVID hit. The discrimination and the anti Semitism they copped was dehumanizing. Dehumanization is me playing a Russian roulette with stranger danger with an organization that was not very ethical, who would leave me without support, without guidance, without transport, to the point that I got down to 42 kilos. So, guys, I'm well qualified to talk about this. Yes, it's personal choice and control. But, guys, why are we arguing over the semantics of a uniform when we're all sweating on the National Press Club address? Just think about that. So, yeah, people get stared at. People get asked inappropriate questions. It's because people are trying to educate themselves on disability. So, guys, I know there's been a high level of snark alert in this video, but guys, if your disability, drop it, or support worker, support coordinator, LAC, drop it in the comments. And guys, remember the rules. Treat people like they're human, like they're in the room. And guys, remember that everyone has a different point of view. So be kind to each other and respect the debate and respect other people's point of view. Welcome to my new patrons and new subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And guys, again, if you can like, share, subscribe, and definitely comment, because we are getting up a solid audience and a solid base. So let's keep this debate going. And after I've watched the National Press Club address, I'll hope to have some blog posts out by about Tuesday next week. My life is very chaotic at the moment. So guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.